Greetings one and all, this is Lloyd Brown and welcome social media family to, can't really call it a vlog because I'm in between seasons right now. But let's call this food for thought because this is something that has been in my mind a long time, but I've kind of drip fed you what I've been feeling for a few episodes of these seasons of vlogs that I've put out to you now. But I just feel the need that I need to basically do a video in relation to what I'm about to say. But before I even go into that, first of all, I want to just send out a big thank you to all the people who have already supported the Vocalist album by pre-ordering it. They haven't even heard a single track. They've probably heard like a snippet of one of the tracks I've done, which accompanies the teaser, but they've not heard any other track. And they're supporting that by pre-ordering that just on the brand of Lloyd Brown alone. So I give thanks for that. And not only the fans, but the DJs. Some DJs have more or less just supported me in that way and just pre-ordered the album. I will get the full report as to where exactly the pre-orders have been coming in from, because now I can get all that information to hand now from the company. So I want to thank everybody for that. For the first time in a long time in my life, much less my career, I have slept for 12 hours straight. Reason being was because I've been editing my music video called You're Going Down, which features Baby Boom. And on a couple of the rolls that I recorded, it didn't have the playback. It didn't have the playback in the roll, so I couldn't match the roll up to the official playback that serves as the bed of the video. And where I thought I had it matched, I had to more or less render the video, and it took me on average 2 3/4 hours to render a 7-minute 42-second video, only to find that when I played it back, the lip sync was off close to the end. So I had to basically cut it and shove it, cut and shove. And I had to do it 4 times straight. So if you multiply 2 hours and 41 minutes by 4, that's the amount of time I was sitting around the computer to begin with, in between toilet breaks and basically eating, which I didn't really do much of. And as a result, it was like, yeah, from Monday morning to Tuesday morning. And such was the excitement that I basically had. I was just up and wired. But then when everything was done, everything was completed, and I had time to sit down, the tiredness just took a hold of me. And by like 6 o'clock that evening, couldn't even keep my eyes open. So I just shut off everything, turned off everything, went to bed, and got up this morning. And when I took a stop, it was like 12 hours I was sleeping. Absolutely mashed, absolutely tired. So just giving thanks for life, seeing another day. However, this is something that I really need to talk about. And for those who don't get it, you need to get it. And I know that what I'm about to say, it is a sentiment amongst a few of my associates, a few of my peers, as it were. And it is this. People, musicians, singers, producers, label owners, record companies, promoters, DJs, you need to stop calling what we have an industry, because it is not an industry. We do not have a reggae music industry in the United Kingdom. We don't have an industry. Stop calling it that, because we simply do not have one. Why am I saying this? It is simple. My definition of what an industry is in any walk, any field of life is this. Is when you have singers, musicians, producers, label owners, promoters, DJs, pluggers, right, all working somewhat in sync with each other. So for example, if me as an artist, I'm just basically recording an album, and let's say Don Campbell has got an album ready to go, ready to basically be put out on road. He's promoting his album. Then me as an artist who rates Don Campbell, right, will do as much as I can to basically push that along, because I'm not in any competition with Don Campbell, and Don Campbell is not in any competition with me. We're working together as singers because we know how the thing works. And then we pass on our things or his things to a plugger. A plugger would plug it to the DJ would plug it on his radio station. The people will basically hear the tune and buy the tune in the record stores. DJs would go to the record stores. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, this is what used to happen. Go to a record shop every Friday or Saturday, and you have rows of DJs standing up and down in the record shop, and they hear a tune. Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah, me hear that on such and such radio station. Yeah, me buy that tune there. Yeah, me buy that tune. Yeah, me buy that tune. And they will go out that night with their respective sound systems and play that tune. Get a forward or get a couple forward or even get the biggest forward of the night for that tune. And then as a result, promoters will get a gist of what's going on from the grassroots level, and they would more or less try and book them to do gigs. And then as a result, the bigger they get, then that's when the tour managers come in and work out some kind of tour, whether it be in the UK, whether it be in Europe or elsewhere, right? But that is a semblance of an industry. What we have in 2017 is far from that. We don't have that. What we have is fragmentation. We have a setter man and a setter woman doing their own thing. Before you start jump down my throat, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying what these people are doing is a bad thing. I'm a fragment. I'm a fragment of the fragmentation. I'm doing my own thing. And you have other artists and producers and music makers doing their own thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing they're doing, but they're doing their things over there, sir. And the next set of man's doing their things over there, sir. And the next set of man's doing their things over here, sir. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gelling to the point where it's just kind of running like a conveyor belt, as it were. That's a poor description, but it's not running. Okay, it's not running as the cogs on a wheel to connect with other cogs on another wheel, etc., etc., to keep the machinery going. That is what an industry is. That's what an industry is. So when I see people basically talk about, yeah, man, I celebrate 50 years or 40 years in this industry right up to 2017, and I ask them, what is the industry that we have now? And they can't even answer me that. That tells me enough. So we need to stop calling what we have an industry, because it is not an industry by industry standards, right? It isn't. It isn't. From my apprenticeship served, from being a box boy to a mic man, to a selector, to a recording artist, local recording artist, to an international recording artist, producer, videographer. I'm still serving my apprenticeship by basically grasping onto different aspects of my craft and see how it works in front of the microphone as well as behind the microphone. And that is a natural progression. Just like with actors, they're in front of the camera and then they basically start to direct behind the camera. Robert De Niro, Denzel Washington, Angelina Jolie, to name a few, Jodie Foster, to name a few. That's how it basically works. And you have the industry around them, the cogs of the wheel, basically interlocking and making the thing happen. We don't have that over here. We don't have it. I'm sorry, we just don't have it. And I'll tell you something else, right? There are people in this business, right, that are current and consistent to some degree in this business, that when you pick up the phone to call them, you can't get them. You cannot get them because they're doing what they're doing. Now, my thing is that men, women, human beings are as faithful to their options. Human beings are faithful to their options, right? 30 years ago when we had an industry, you know, we had the thing basically interlocking, but we still had our liars and our thief and our hustlers, them still basically circling like vultures over the thing that we had that was called an industry back then in the day. What's changed is that we don't have an industry now, but we still have the same set of jankra them a fly overhead, seeing what they can basically pick out from the carcasses of people that's been working and busting their ass to try and keep this thing alive. We still have them dirty, nasty, stinking jankra in this thing today. That's not going to leave. That's still going to basically be there. But it's down to us to basically, you know, we keep saying, yeah, we must get together in this thing, but I'm sorry to break it to you, right? But we're not going to have an industry in my lifetime. Maybe in our grandchildren's lifetime. When they see, okay, well, the reggae thing, yeah, I love the reggae thing, but it's an old people thing that. It's my granny and my grandfather thing that. You know what I mean? They need to stop. It's not a case of they need to stop seeing it as that. They see it as that because of our practices. And that's all it is. They love the music, but the business, the business element, man, you know. You have people in this business that claim to be in an industry, right? You have some DJs that won't even buy a tune. They won't even buy a tune for 75 pence from a new artist or a veteran artist or an established artist, right? That has just put out an album. You still got DJs that will still go on fans pages and ask the fans them to copy a CD and give them as DJs. And the thing is, the jacked up thing is that I know who these people are. I know who they are. I know who they are. As Gregory Isaacs would say, come off of me fender, dirty nigga. Sorry, man. It just has to be said. You know, there are still DJs in 2017 that's going on with them foolishness. And they need to stop. They need to stop. They just need to stop. And they're the first people to basically want to celebrate the fact that they've been in this industry for 35 years. Yeah, you've been in this industry for 30 odd years, basically teething people tunes and begging people's tunes from fans who have bought the tunes then. Yeah, that's a cause for celebration, that is. Yeah, wonderful, lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, I'm not trying to basically bring no hostility or no hatefulness or begrudging or just bad vibes or controversy ahead of a release of my album, but I'm just saying what it is. I'm just telling it like it is. Do you know what I mean? Because it's the truth. It's the truth at the end of the day. I was watching a documentary about George Michael. Very interesting documentary called George Michael Freedom. If you haven't watched it, watch it. And he was basically talking about when he was at Loggerheads with Sony Records. And he was asked a question. He was like one of the biggest selling pop artists in the world with the album Faith. Now, after the album Faith, he just wanted to branch himself out and grow as an artist. Sony didn't want that. Sony just wanted him to be the same bubblegum pop artist as he was with Faith and Wham. And he said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not recording for you no more. And as a result, George Michael took Sony to court. And he was asked this question. He was asked, when you went to court and you was fighting your corner, were there any other artists that was in your corner as well? And he said, no, not one. Not one artist fought in his corner. Not one. He said they were waiting for the result so that they can jump up on the bandwagon, so to speak. But in the fight, there was nobody. Nobody. If you can hear some drilling, it's got some workmen outside. But he said there was no other artist stood by his side to fight his corner against Saudi. And a little after the court case and him losing the court case, who was the next artist that raised his head above the precipice? None other than Prince. So that says a lot. So from the ground up, you know, us musos, we got to fight. But the saddest thing with the reggae thing is that we're fighting amongst ourselves. We are hustle off of ourselves. We are bad mind with self. We are thief off of ourselves. You know what I mean? You know, and we are trying to stifle with self. But you want to call that, all of that, an industry. People, please, stop calling it an industry and let's move on and up. I don't care if you want to stay in your lane and do what you're basically doing. But let's do it with some professionalism, man. That's all I'm basically saying. All of us, not just the singers and the musicians, every one of us who has some kind of connection with the music. Let's all be professional, man. And stop this foolishness. Abstain from it. I keep saying abstain from the foolishness. But anyway, it's with that. I'm out of here. Catch you guys later. Peace.